tuned into Teng Tools Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods, and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Teng Tools in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's, and Niedercar. Coming up, we hit Auckland's North Shore to check out the new kid on the block, Takapuna Rocks. And there's little that can't be fixed with an angry LS at Arcus Performance. But first, thanks to our friends at Niedercar, meet Igor's supercar-inspired Mustang with Bite, a 65 fastback named Venom.
It wasn't really my first choice, to be perfectly honest. I've always wanted a 60 to 62 Corvette, and I've had one, on my wall since I was about 15 years old. So it's just a case of circumstance that a Mustang happened to turn up, and really it's going back to my childhood when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I had a neighbour that I thought was really cool because he had a big yank tank American car. Some guys have boats, some guys have cars, I suppose. It's just a passion, like I know a lot of women that like shoes. So it's just one of those things. I happen to like cars.
That love of the motor vehicle has long played a lead role in Igor's life, even at one point owning his own toy shop, Hollywood Cars, an Auckland business specialising in vehicles out of the ordinary. So when Igor decided he needed a classic in his life, an innocent-looking 65 Mustang would enter the frame, albeit its appeal not for the reason you might expect.
Price to start with, I thought, oh, wow, what a bargain, better go and buy that. And so I did, and unfortunately when I started taking it apart, it was one of those ones that was covered in rust. And so the project that was meant to just be a little bit of a do-up ended up completely stripping the car. I didn't want just a bog job. Unfortunately, the first guys that took it on did actually bog it, and so we had to start all over again. Once again, stripped it again and took all the bog out, and replaced the rust that was still there.
Enter Matamata Panel Works, a business world-renowned for handcrafting elite-level cars. They're no one-trick pony, but much of their success can be attributed to their obsessive and all-steel approach to Ford's Mustang. Malcolm and his team would then make the perfect match for the standard of work Igor was looking to achieve, but neither party were in any doubt. That level of finish takes time and money.
You probably have to have more dollars than cents, actually, if you're going to start a project like that. So, it was just happened to be at the stage of my life where I could afford to do so. And once you start, really, you can't finish. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so, I wanted the best, so I went to see the best.
Although to begin with, Igor wasn't looking for a turnkey car.
I saw a bumper that they did on another 65 Mustang, and I rang Malcolm up and said, hey, I like the look of that bumper, can I have that bumper? And it was like, no, you can't, but you can have one similar, because we don't do the same design for every car that we do. All sounded nice, so once I'd done the bumper, it's like, oh, well, maybe let's do the rear bumper as well. And from the rear bumper, you start doing the sides. The guards over here, they're all hand fabricated. It's tap, tap, tap. To get professionals like that working on your car, it costs $1, but the end product is what you see.
Wheels were in motion and the challenge was set. Igor wouldn't settle for the second best car Matamata Panel Works had built. This one had to raise the bar. Taking inspiration from the Ferrari F430 in Igor's garage, the Detroit pony car would imitate the Italian's aerodynamic vents on its flanks, while the lines of that custom front bumper flow onto the integrated side skirts and rear bumper. The 19x9 and 19x12-inch wheels dictated the overall width of the flared guards. Everything, and we mean everything, has been handcrafted for this one-off vehicle. And there's no fiberglass here. Matamata Panel Works' currency of choice is steel. Of course, with Igor having spent plenty of his time behind the wheels of supercars, a 1965 driving experience was never going to cut it. 427 cubes of Roush's finest was numbers matched to the body, topped with a stack-injected EFI and backed by a Tremec TKO 600 5-speed. The package is good for a very drivable 560 horses. And yes, as good as Venom looks under the bright lights of a show hall, like its award-winning unveil at the Teng Tools Grand National Rod and Custom Show, this is a car built to drive, with most of the good bits of the RRS catalogue thrown at it, including their Phase 6 front suspension, coilovers, GT rack and pinion steering, 3-link rear end, and braking package. But for a vehicle with so little factory Ford left in it, it was important that this hugely modified Mustang was still recognizable as just that, a Mustang.
I wanted people to still look at the car and think, oh, that's an old Mustang. And I wanted it to sound like an old Mustang as well. So when you wind down the window and you put your arm out the window, and people hear that V8 roaring past, they know, oh, that's an old muscle car, and that's what I wanted.
It might have begun in unfortunate circumstances, the purchase of a rusty 65 Mustang that would inadvertently kick off a 6-year build of one of New Zealand's most elite custom cars. But the result is a vehicle that achieves everything Igor and the Matamata Panelworks team set out to do. And chances are, it might not be the last time this owner-builder combo have a good look at where the bar sits and think they might just raise it another notch or two.
Oh, it's kind of a weird feeling, actually. You want it to keep going in a way. You want it to stop because it takes so long, but then once you have finished, it's like, oh, what do I do now? The artist in me had that project going on for 5 or 6 years, and I was able to, paint my picture, per se. And now that it's finished, it's like, oh, what do I do now? I haven't got specifically a goal in mind, but I'm sure it won't be my last. I want to thank my girlfriend Emily for putting up with me all the times I was away down there checking on the car, and to my 3 children. I'm still around for a while yet, so get your eyes off it.
Right, thanks to our mates at Mount Shop, we're shed raiding. If you follow New Zealand's burnout scene, you'll no doubt be familiar with the name Joel Arcus and his skill behind the wheel. But you might not know the cloud-making Camaro is all his handiwork too. We're near the capital gate-crashing Arcus Performance.
I've come from a long family of petrol heads. My father was a mechanic and his father was a mechanic, so natural progression dictated that I was a mechanic.
And we're not talking oil changes and wafts here. Joel's career spinning spanners has been one that's wide and varied, from time spent on the Lake Possum-Bourne's rally team to his days at Wellington performance powerhouse Speedtech, a workshop that pushed import drag racing on a global scale. Joel's a V8 guy through and through, but his background sees him bring a new school approach to an old school platform, with the modern day tunability, drivability and reliability of fuel injection and quite often forced induction.
Yeah, we do a lot of LS stuff. They're getting more and more popular. They're cheap, they make good power, nice and small and light, so they fit into little cars and people are putting them into everything. You can tune them up to get them going pretty good even when they're just factory. Put a big cam in them, they go a whole lot better. Supercharger or turbocharger, they love boost. I was working at the Holden dealership when LS's first came out in Commodores, and I was their main technical boy, so they sent me on all the training courses and got to learn up all about them, and I've been doing conversions and playing with them ever since.
Joel and his wife Justine run Arcus Performance from this spotless workshop in striking distance of the Hutt Valley. It's not just engine building and tuning though, with full service from go to woe on offer, including driveline conversions, chassis work and fabrication, all the way up to full turnkey cars for road or race, or circle work. Joel's own car, a dedicated tyre-frying 2010 Camaro named School U, is a regular sight at burnout comps across the country, as well as events like Chrome and Power Cruise. While the built-to-be-beaten Camaro sports a tough old-school look, its horsepower is all 21st century. A cast-iron LQ9 LS block holds centre stage, with stroker crank and forged pistons, fed E85 by a custom EFI setup, a motor designed to take a whole lot of boost from an 871 supercharger and keep on ticking.
It's the hardest workout you can give a car. They usually start off pretty cold and you're holding it on the rev limiter for a couple of minutes at a time, and the car's pretty reliable these days, so it's turnkey. You start it up and go and thrash it as hard as you can and park it up until the next time.
It's not the only tough car in Arcus ownership though, and the Commodore sports the right stickers on the window for road use. With Joel's ownership pushing past the 20-year mark, it's been through a few different engine combos. Joel's stuck with Holden's V8, a 383 stroker, again with a custom EFI setup and backed by a T5 manual.
It was the coolest car in town when I bought it when I was a young fella. Yeah, owned it for a long time and plan on owning it for a long time.
Our visit timed out with the finishing touches going in on Hayden Wilby's nut-out VT Commodore, the car being readied for the grand stage of the Summer Nats Burnout Pad. Originally purchased to compete in the New Zealand Burnout Championship, the Summer Nats ticket has seen things get a bit more serious. Arcus Performance have rebuilt and beefed up the LS1 to handle the boost from the new edition. An 871 BDS blower with a similar fuel system to the School U Camaro, 16 injectors, custom fuel rails and braided Teflon hoses ready to squirt E85. With EFI's new age smarts smoothing out any hunting on idle, it all sounded a bit too civilized for Joel. But no problem, a bit of backwards engineering and the flick of a switch puts the LS into angry old school tune with a menacing pulse to intimidate its rivals in the pits. Australia's burnout scene is big crowds and big dollars. But with more high-level cars being specifically built for the skid pad, hopefully our underdog status will be one short-lived.
Yeah, I think we're still a few years behind the Aussies as far as their top-end cars go, but we'll certainly fly the flag for New Zealand and Arcus Performance.
Amazing results, even at full sight.
Right, summer is upon us and event season is in full swing. This week, Maguire's sent us to a brand new one, the inaugural Repco Takapuna Rocks. The baby of organiser Matt Turnwald, the event sees an impressive lineup of classics, hot rods and muscle machines fighting for your attention to the backdrop of Takapuna's picturesque waterfront setting.
I want everyone to enjoy our hobby. A lot of people don't get to come to a free event like this and actually enjoy what we do. So putting on an event like this that the public can come to, that families can bring their kids and yeah, just enjoy the day out.
New events are always the source of many a sleepless night for their organisers, but Matt brings a wealth of knowledge gained from his involvement in one of the South Island's biggest events. As such, the formula was bang on, right from the word go. A good mix of vehicles, live music from regular Hot Rod Show faves Boom Boom Deluxe and the Recliner Rockers, flanked by trade stalls and Takapuna's eateries already on hand. The event has plenty of room to grow too, and Matt and his team are in it for the long haul.
Yeah, there's been a huge amount of work behind the scenes. It's taken me a long time to get approval to have the event in this space, and with all the local businesses and stuff like that. We finally got them on board, and yeah, now we've just got to show them that this is the place to be.
It's a brand new event, so it only seems fitting we start with David's new car, his first classic, and today appearing at its first Hot Rod Show with him behind the wheel.
It's a 1965 Lincoln Continental. It's just running the standard MEL 430 engine, which is a 7 litre. It's my first classic car, so I just wanted to be different. I didn't want to go along the Mustang line or anything like that, so I looked for the oddball type of car, and it took about 6 months to figure out exactly what I wanted. I was looking at Pontiacs and all sorts of stuff, so Lincoln seemed to catch my eye more than others, and I went down this line.
And the Continental, with its trademark suicide doors, was also one of the biggest in the car park.
Yes, it's a bit of a tank, the old Yank tank. So being on static suspension, it gets a bit hard on the speed bumps.
Another eye-catching car, Richard's Merc. It's been a regular sight since hitting the road in New Zealand.
It's a 49 Mercury, had a major custom that you can see roof's been chopped off it, and it's got a casting roof on it. It's running a 350 Chev, about 370 odd horsepower. We just rebuilt that a couple of years ago. Oh, I love them, look at them. Why not? You know, they stand out. They're just, I've had two of them, brought two in. They're just awesome cars, stunning cars, you know. Yeah, just the shape of them.
And while the removable roof was installed by its previous American owner, Richards put a ton of work in since taking ownership, including getting the iconic sled's lines into shape.
It came in with no windows, and I made up on boat builder, so I made up all the windows out of fiberglass frames, and then just built what we created here, you know, put the side pipes on it, and the grille, we couldn't get it chromed in New Zealand, so I got a hydrographic dip over here, and so yeah, a lot of hours gone onto it, a lot of hours.
And when they look this good, you have to wonder why the Mercury, a legend in the world of American customs, are surprisingly thin on the ground here.
Bugger all. There's, I know of probably another four or five, but there's not a lot, no. Nothing like to this extreme either, with the roof being cut off it and stuff, but no, there's a few, but not a lot, no. It's great being different. That's what hot rodding's all about, is being different, standing out, yeah. Yeah, you don't see too many of them parked beside you, no.
The Takapuna Rocks car park wasn't just filled with locals either, with sightings of Bay of Plenty cars up for the day, and from Northland, a large contingent of Whangarei Rod and Custom Club, making full use of the early taste of summer.
We're a very active club, and we go all over the country to these different events. We've got 18 down today, so that was a pretty good turnout.
Whangarei Rod and Custom Club are a positive force for the sport. Loyal promoters of the hot rodding hobby through their support en masse of new events like this one to holding their own in the form of the Whangarei River. Not to mention their admirable efforts of late in the construction of the Tiki T, a good old-fashioned passing of the torch, donating their time and skills to engage with students from Whangarei's Takapuna High School.
Yeah, well, I think our membership's sitting at about 170 this year. We have joint membership, so that probably equates to about 90 cars. But then if we're anything to go by, we've got 4 cars, so yeah, your guess is as good as mine, how many cars.
Good things take time, and Ross was out putting miles on the clock of his Ford Roadster, the result of a 13-year build.
It's a 1933 Ford Roadster. It's got a 427 full alloy in it, shortened stroke and a couple of other bits and pieces on there, racing carb, and it was all built by Hopper at Kumeu. I've always loved a Roadster as a kid and things like that. It's just that whole kid thing, you know. Grew up loving them, and now I've got one. Great.
And those 13 years have been spent making the 33 more to Ross's taste, bobbing the back, widening the guards, and building in the best of both worlds for New Zealand's climate with that removable roof.
If it's nice and sunny, I can haul it off, but the only problem is it's a hard top, which is not actually a problem. It's actually really good, but yeah, if I take it off, I've got to store it somewhere. Everything just evolves and changes. The amount of changes I've done going through it and everything else is just unreal. Money.
The 33 is a driver perfect for days like this one. He wasn't the only one that thought so too. The Roadster claiming organisers' pick.
Yeah, it's a cool car to drive. It's a different car. Like, I've got a Hellcat as well, but yeah, they're totally different cars. And I love driving this. Love it.
The inaugural Repco Takapuna Rocks proved a big hit, and plans are already shaping up nicely for the event's return to Takapuna's waterfront in 2020.
We are limited to parking here, but next year we plan on expanding up into the village a bit more. I've been to a lot of car shows around the country. Yeah, this location is just incredible.
It's all for a good cause too. with all proceeds going to charities, Yes Disability and Make-A-Wish. Good stuff. Your ride needs some love? We've got you sorted. Thanks to our mates at Maguire's, we have this massive complete car care pack worth $700 to give away, plus a $500 mount shop voucher to keep the underside shipshape too. And to top it off, a 1-year subscription to NZ V8 magazine. To enter, simply head to themotorhood.com and hit the Teng Tools Muscle Garage link. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series. Easy. Teng Tools Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Teng Tools. Get organised. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Need a Car, the easy way to research and buy cars online.